Well, good morning. Isn't that nice? We got a sweet new song, new piece of music by Aquatic Conquest. Thank you so much. And this is a challenge piece. Aquatic Conquest is going to add your video clip to this piece. I trust with the name of the person who sends the clip in. So it'll be a real fun piece. It'll be something we'll all be able to participate in. Thank you so much, Aquatic Conquest. Excellent, excellent. Just more of the more of the quality coming out of Father Fish Shoal. Very nice. Thank you so much. And I'm a little late this morning. I don't know what happened. I stopped to get a burrito. I guess that's what did it. And I'm drinking black coffee out of my Father Fish mug. I do have some more coming today. I hope they'll be here today. They are all spoken for. So it's going to be another another week at least before I'll be able to get more. I don't know. I'm up to 20. Well, 19. I kept one for myself. Mary Page. Hello, hello. Nice to see you. And is Aquarium Cop here? I need to talk to him. Lee is here. Hi, Lee. Good to see you. Waiting for Gandalf, right? Well, right, exactly. Sit on the floor and start chanting. Let's see. I got so carried away with myself yesterday that I never even allowed anybody to come up and bang heads with me. So I will do so now and invite anyone who would like to come up and say hello to everybody and kind of participate more directly in the chat this morning. Yeah. Stephen saying I'm already sitting on the cross-legged on the floor chanting, "Why aren't you?" Well, yeah, I get that, Lee. I don't get on the floor either. Not so much anymore. Really, really. Harry's got it. Drop it like it's hot, but try to get back up. Now, the idea with these is to get rid of about 2/3 of the carbs. Mm. Oh dear. Well, let's see. I'm not down to the comments where I came online yet. Hmm. Fossil fish keepers said that right. Lee, if you could be a dinosaur, which one would you be? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. A velociraptor, Steven says. Whoa. That's a mean bird. And Mary's saying a pterodactyl. Lee'd be the one that hid from the meteor. Amen. Amen. Ah, you bet. A video on making tea. Now, there you go. Cassie B's asking for something worthwhile here. Ah, oh dear. Lost that little bit. What would the father fish be? Mary Page pretty close to being a dinosaur anyway. Let's see. Lee says, I already told Father Fish he was the first thing to climb out of the primordial soup. Oh dear. Yeah, I don't like primordial soup. That's all it was. That's just persnickety. Ah. I reckon he saw us. That's what it was. Mary Page gonna start letting it say what my talk to text says. Cracks me up. Yeah, it has a mind of its own, doesn't it? All right. I don't know what happened here. Chubbs is here. Good morning, Chubbs. Oh, excuse me. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Still on the boat.
Still on the boat. Whoa.
Yep. So 2 weeks on the boat and 1 week at home. Gotta go till Tuesday.
Yeah, I was watching your vid, yesterday of the swamp. That was pretty. Yeah. Did you collect that big piece of driftwood or just
No, I was admiring it. But it would be something I would like to get, but that thing I guarantee you weighs over 300 pounds.
Oh, I'm sure of it. But you got a tugboat. I mean, that's what tugboats do. They move big stuff.
Yeah, I can move it to the dock. It's just getting it there.
Yeah, what do you do then, right?
Then I got to get in the crane and pick it up and put it in back of a truck somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, yep. It is really pretty, isn't it? That's a nice piece.
Oh, that was real nice. That's a really old piece of cypress.
I'll bet. Yeah, and big. Be interesting to know how much of it's in the mud.
It looked like only maybe a quarter of it. If you've seen that top fin, I would imagine it'd be like 2 or 3 more of those fins, and they'd be underneath.
Oh, excuse me. Boy, it goes down easy. It doesn't come up as easy.
Yeah. Sounds like you're in the wrong hole.
Yeah, that's right. I do it every day. Every day I do the same thing. I don't know. I've forgotten how to swallow, I guess. Oh dear. Ugh.
Yeah, I do have a couple pieces that I've managed to pick up. They're smaller though, only about 1.5 to 2 foot.
Nice stuff. Really nice stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I try to always have a lot of driftwood here.
oh yeah, yeah. I
It's
always
getting
got
a little low. I hadn't had nobody's collected for me for a while.
each. Yeah, well, yeah. Working on the river down here, it's a super highway of the United States. You know, everything goes into the river and it comes down here, one way or
Yeah.
the other.
Oh, yeah. That where you were at yesterday, that's not Delta. That's way above the Delta, isn't it?
No, it's right here across from Venice, Louisiana, about 10 miles above the mouth of the Mississippi River.
Oh, I see. Huh.
So I'm about 70 miles from New Orleans.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. A little place called Venice, Louisiana.
Venice. I'm in Venice, Florida. How about that?
Yeah. Uh, from what I remember about Venice, Venice, Florida, it was the home of the Clown College.
The what college?
Clown College?
Oh, the Clown College. Well, that's Sarasota, but yeah, it's close.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think I was in middle school. I heard that. It just always stayed with me.
Yeah, the winter quarters of Barnum and Bailey used to be here in Venice for years and years. In fact, they were here until the year I moved. I moved down to Florida in '91, and then the railroad track became too decrepit, and they couldn't bring their train down out of Sarasota, so
Yeah.
they quit and moved to Michigan, and now I guess they're disbanded.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a problem to help you out with your plans, man. You just need to grow a pair and get it done.
Exactly. Well, yeah, nobody was willing to do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Give him a nice message today on how he needs to do it. And if he's scared, he just needs to cut him with scissors. That's all you can do.
yeah,
You
right.
don't
Sure
want to cut it, just cut it. If you cut it about an inch, inch and a half above the sand, they will grow back.
right. Hmm.
Yeah, Mary, you see it later. It's gonna be there forever.
Oh, it's really sweet, Mary. He didn't find an alligator, but he found a beautiful piece of driftwood and a couple of big boats.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple ships out there, and ran into one of my cousins that gave me all the shrimp.
Now what's he netting?
Yeah, they use trawl nets or
Yeah. Yeah, they were pretty.
oh yeah, it was nice. It was
Now, so
around
you get
21,
some in deep
25.
water?
No, that's actually shallow water.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, yeah. They call it a skimmer frame. It's like a square frame that they drop down in the water, and
Yeah,
got
yeah.
bullets and tickle chain. The bullets dig into the dirt, and the tickle chain runs along the top of the dirt, scares the shrimp out of the mud, and they go into the net.
Huh. Slick.
Yeah, but if they said an inch and a half or 2 inches too far one way or the other, you won't catch them at all.
Wow.
Yeah,
They were real pretty, weren't they?
oh yeah, real pretty.
Good eating.
Oh yeah. Yep, got about a half a 5-gallon bucket full of 21, 25s to all the way to 10, 15s.
Oh, my word.
That's how many per pound, you know.
Right.
So that was real nice.
Pretty good shrimp industry here in Florida, but They're out more in like 40, 50 feet of water.
Yeah.
The only small shrimp are caught here are bait shrimp.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, they got those in the bay.
4 or 5 different shrimp here. We got the white shrimp and the brown shrimp, which transit back and forth from the marsh to the Gulf. Then we have the grass shrimp and then the little grass prawns.
Now, what's a grass prawn?
It's just it gets a little bit bigger than the grass shrimp, and they got pinchers. It's a prong, but they
I got it. Yeah. Right.
They
Now,
stay small. They don't get huge.
we do have some huge prawn here in Florida, but
Yeah, no, y'all get some real big, nice ones over there.
yeah, they're not market though.
Yeah.
They're they kind of you get them in the canals one at a time. They're more isolated, and
Yeah,
I guess they're the more southern shrimp. I don't think they're native.
I don't know.
They got, like the body's got a foot long on.
Oh yeah. Well, they got the river prongs over here too, and they get a little big. They don't get a foot, but they'll get like 7, 8 inches.
Yeah, they don't have any meat on them though.
No, they usually you find them real skinny or dead, but
Yeah, not really an
they
eating.
they're usually hiding out in the driftwood or something like that along the bank.
They're nice in a tank though. They're really cool in a tank.
Yeah, if you get one healthy enough to survive.
Yeah, right. Oh, excuse me.
I had some at the house that I was trying to send to Detroit Shrimp because he said he wanted them, and I figured he might be able to save them, or he might be able to keep them real good, but they never did. They never did good. The shipping lasted 2 or 3 more days than what they said it was, and I think the heat got them. So, we were fine.
Roxanne, hello, Roxanne, Cassie B. Good to see you, ladies. Come on up, Cassie B.
Come on up.
Nice to see you.
Everybody is in.
Come on up, Cassie B.
Come on up.
Let's see. I need to cut my volume off here.
Everybody is in.
Right. Oh dear. So, what kind of fish you been catching, Chubbs?
The ones that don't bite the hook, they just bite the bait.
Exactly.
Yeah, been around some nice. We was in a washout right there in the river, and it's pretty much a mecca for bait fish. The smaller fish, and you'll see big redfish hitting. You'll see big bass and striper and tarpon, and you just can't get them to bite the hook because there's so much bait. They're not interested in your lure. They just got so much bait out there that they're chasing that you can't entice them to bite anything. Just one of them things.
Do you get paddlefish?
Yeah, we get lots of big paddlefish over here. One of your locals over there, the Ketchamal, he was just over here in Louisiana, and they were catching paddlefish at one of the spillways. But I'll see them every now and then, but you rarely see them inside that you're gonna be able to put in the tank. Usually when I see them dead,
some little ones. I had some little ones, like 6 inches, some years ago. They were actually pretty easy to keep and feed. They're a filter feeder.
Mary?
If you know what a basking shark is, for those of you who don't know what a paddlefish is, look up basking shark. And that's what a paddlefish looks like. It has a steam shovel mouth that it drops open and it swims around with its mouth open. The only difference is the paddlefish has a huge, what's it called, a sternum, a huge nose that's like a paddle, like a canoe paddle.
Yeah.
Looks for all the world like a canoe paddle.
Yeah, yeah. The paddle's about as big as the fish.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool fish. They will survive in large aquariums. They got to be fed. Um, Generally, I was feeding a very small grain pelletized food, like a powder
Yeah,
that stayed in the water column, and because of the way they eat, just filtering water through their gills, I
yeah.
was able to keep them fed. I
Yeah,
would
they
love
had
to get them. I wanted to get them since then. I've not been able to get them.
Yeah, I've seen them in I think 2 or 3 times in the last 10 years in a pet shop, and nobody that I've never heard of anybody having success keep them, and I wouldn't imagine they would. But you really need to be rock steady and ready to have microorganisms ready for him to eat because they filter feed 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't never stop. So I mean, you got to have food and water collar for them.
I had built a big about a excuse me, about a 200-gallon pool that I kept them in.
Yeah.
Steven, have you ever kept battlefish?
Yeah, I think about the biggest one I seen. The body on the fish was almost 5.5 feet long.
Wow.
And the sternum itself was almost that itself too. So
Wow.
it was massive. I didn't think they got that big. But
Now
yeah, they-
you dig or net for them? How do you catch them?
I've never caught one. Like I said, I've only seen them floating in the river, but I know from what I've seen on YouTube, they usually just throw a big hook and hope to catch them. It's really the only way you can get them. Just by try hooking them.
Well, you can snag them.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, same thing.
Or catch them with a big long pole net, like they do salmon sometimes. Use a big long pole net.
Yeah. Well, you can't use gill nets down here no more. They don't outlaw that.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
Yeah. You can only use a gill net to catch what is it? Mullet, the roe mullet. That's the only time you could use a gill net.
right. Yeah, they put a net law in here some years ago. It really killed the mullet industry.
That's the only thing they kept it open for. They outlawed gill nets for anything except for mullet because they said that was really the only way to catch them. So.
Yeah, I've caught them with cast net.
Oh yeah, I catch them in cast nets all the time using bait, but every now and then you'll get lucky and get one on the side of the boat, and you can hit them with a stick and tase them, and then grab them with a net, or grab them with your hands if you ain't got a net.
Yeah, Steven's saying he's seen them in the lab a few times. They're really a cool fish.
Oh yeah, they are.
There are hatcheries, but I think they're all state hatcheries. I don't know of a private hatchery that's producing them for release. It is a fish that occasionally is offered to farmers for farm ponds. Keep the farm ponds clear.
What's up, Kenny?
Kenny E's here. Hi, Kenny. Good morning. Pepperland Creek said he caught one on the Mississippi some years ago.
Yeah.
About a 2-footer.
Tell you another rare one that we get over here that I actually caught was a little sturgeon.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. That was about 1.5 feet. I was just fishing on the bottom for catfish or something, and he came and grabbed my bait. I guess he wanted some shrimp. And I got him up. He was about 2 foot. I freaked out. I was actually on the Atchafalaya River when I caught him. Right there at Morgan City.
So that was a freshwater. sturgeon,
Yeah.
river
Oh, yeah.
sturgeon.
The Atchafalaya River, yeah.
Yeah, we have a saltwater sturgeon in the Gulf, but it's a restricted species.
Yeah. I think it was a Gulf shovel nose sturgeon or something like that. I don't
Oh,
know.
really? Well, might have been the same
remember
one.
the name exactly.
Neat.
But
Excuse me.
that was pretty awesome. That was the first time I seen one in life, live like that.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. Oh yeah, it was a baby. It was only like 2 foot.
Yeah, I've bought little ones. I find them really, really, really hard to keep. I've never been able to keep one.
Yeah, the sturgeons need some cold water and high flow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Highly oxygenated.
I can't do cold water fish here in Florida. It just doesn't work.
The amount of chillers that you would have to have would be unbearable to pay the bill.
Right. Yeah, I've got a chiller on my koi. It drops it to about maybe 80, 78.
Yeah, you'd have to get it to 60 or 65.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
What I've seen
kinda
the sturgeons need a lot of cool water and a lot of oxygen.
right. Lee's talking about Petroman back at work at the Navy base. Yeah, I was talking to him last night too.
Right.
Oh, Steven said they got a marine betta in yesterday. That's
Nice.
a really. How big is it, Steven? That's a really pretty fish. I've had them. Really pretty fish. They don't get real big. The ones biggest I've had were maybe 6 inches. Let's see, Steven, you want to try it? See if you can.
I think there's
Get
2 or
you
3
up here.
species over here, man. Again.
Then again, it's got 2 species of sturgeon out on the west coast in the Great North.
Yep.
Lots of sturgeon in Wisconsin.
Yeah, they pretty much everywhere. You see,
Yeah.
in Louisiana, we cannot keep a shovel nose sturgeon at any size. But north, up north of the river, a couple states up above Arkansas, they can keep that species at a certain size. So it's in a central waterway, and they go up and down.
So long as they're not breeding, I guess.
I don't know, but we can't keep them at any size, and they can keep them at a certain size.
I see. Yeah, Steven said his marine bettas, he got 4 of them, about 5 inches long. It's a really pretty and really interesting fish. They're super hardy too.
3 or 4.
They live through about anything. The marine betta is a really great tank fish. Easy to keep, very hardy. They're not particularly aggressive. They're kind of a lurking fish, sort of quiet the way a betta is. Really, really nice fish.
Yeah, I had got one when I had a saltwater tank, but my blue line grouper decided he wasn't going to stay.
Oh, wow. Chased him out, did he?
He killed him in about an hour and a half.
Wow. Yeah, grouper can be a little rough.
These blue line grouper are some a-holes to say the least.
You bet. Yeah, nearly all the grouper.
I've kept 4 different groupers, and he was the biggest pain in the butt I had.
Worst of the blue line, huh? Have you had the red?
Huh?
You had the red grouper?
I had what they call a flagtail grouper,
Okay.
and then I had bearded grouper, the blue line grouper, and the blue spot grouper.
Right. I've had the blue spot, and I've had the red. But I got them little. I've never had a big grouper.
Yeah, well, the blue spot grouper gets about they get bigger than all of them. The blue line grouper, they stay kind of small. They actually only get to about 16 inches. But when you're talking about a grouper, that's actually small.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Big fish for a tank.
oh yeah. But I was planning on getting a major big tank, soon at that time. But I also had a white-eyed moray eel that was 4 foot long. He was awesome.
Yeah, morays. Yeah, I've got big. I had about a 4 foot green moray some years back. They are very cool. They really are.
Got that white-eyed moray when he was about literally 4 inches long and about as thick around as a skinny pencil. And all you could see on his face was eyes. And then
Wow.
I started hand feeding him then. And 3 years later, he was 4 foot long, big as around as a baseball, living in a 75-gallon tank, which is 4 foot long. And he was just the most awesome eel or anything you could keep and you could imagine. I mean, if I wasn't there and my wife at the time would feed him, he'd come out real easy, grab the food, and just go back in his hole. As soon as I come home and walk up to that tank and open the top, he was at the top of the tank doing laps. He was running back and forth. He couldn't wait for the food to come out. He'd stick his head on the tank and lay his chin on the edge of the tank waiting for food. I mean, he was awesome. And then I'd take my hand with a piece of shrimp and put it in there, or a whole squid, and he'd take it from my hand and go swallow it.
Nice.
Never even got close to biting my finger.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, the morays really get a bad rep, but
Yeah.
I've had a lot of them. I don't have any right now. My half of my saltwater system is down. I had a pump go out, so I'm trying to figure out whether I'm going to put a new pump on it or try to repair the old one. That's part of today's job. Oh, gee, I was looking.
Right on, man. Yeah, just go for it, buddy. The worst you could do is mess it up and have to do another water change.
Well, Denkin said he had a moray in Hawaii that bit him.
I believe it.
They got
Just,
a set of teeth on him too.
yeah. I think that the trick with a moray is getting them real small and raising them up. So if you get a green moray at 3 feet long, he don't know you. He don't know what's going on or where he's at.
Oh yeah, right.
He's 6 inches long, and then you teach him what the routine is, and when he gets 4 foot long, he's gonna trust you. He's gonna know he's got food. He's gonna be happy.
Yeah, the thing about wild animals is they're wild animals.
Yeah.
You got to treat them as such. Steven's talking about a line of tang. Don't know what he's referring to. I guess the marine. That's not a tang. It's more like a marine bed is more like a grouper. Behaviorally, I guess.
From what I've seen, it's actually kind of like a cichlid.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? They act like a cichlid.
That's what I got from them.
Pretty fish too, real nice.
What kind of eel did you have, Dan? Kenny? Did you have one about 2 foot?
Yeah, I think it was a moray. He was talking about having it in Hawaii.
Oh. Yeah, they got like 100 species of moray.
Right. Yeah, we got the website up, Pebbling Creek. Haven't got a whole lot on it yet. Still working on that. Haven't figured out how to get pictures onto it yet. But that's more of today's job. I'm hoping to actually get something done today. Yesterday, I tried to get the aquarium cops order done, and I got couldn't find the clams that I wanted. Only got 2 of the 8, and then I couldn't find any banana plants. And by that time, I gave it up. Realized I wasn't going to be able to fill the order this week, so I'm going to have to get stuff in next week to do his order. So I was hoping to be on here today so I could explain it to him. But
I don't think I've seen a green moray with a stripes.
I really,
Can you picture that one?
no, I haven't.
That's pretty cool, though. But if y'all want to see that moray eel that I had, I think it's like the 3rd video I uploaded. I uploaded a video of tanks from the past or whatever, and I uploaded an old video of me hand feeding the moray full size old squid.
Well,
See that? I think it's like the 3rd or 4th video I did on YouTube, like 5 months ago.
cool. Steven was talking about a spiny unicorn fish. Never saw a spiny one. A file, also called is that a file fish?
Yeah, a file
That's
fish.
referred to as a file fish. Yeah, we've got them here. They get big. They get, maybe a couple of feet long. We catch little tiny ones, and that's typically what's in the trade. There are a couple of different species of them. There's one that's real flat, very compressed, that has some color pattern on it. That's less common and prettier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to love having that saltwater tank set up, but predator tanks are it's too hard to keep a lot of predators in a 75-gallon tank. You need a big tank for that.
Yeah, that's really true.
But
One Dirty Platy is posting the Facebook group.
awesome.
And I guess you all caught Aquatic Conquests video this morning. The first thing I played.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I was naive when I was doing my saltwater tank. I was trying to do a predator coral tank, and it was work, but
Oh wow!
it was a lot of work. But it worked for about 6 months, and then everything went south.
Huh. Let's see. I want to.
With a big moray like that, trying to keep coral, it was meant to fail.
Yeah, exactly. I want to take a break here. I've got to let me get a tune up. Let's play. We haven't played our theme song this morning. Be right back, guys.
All right.
Is it gonna come on? Cut this song off. Cut the sound off. There it is.
Hello, Mary. Mary, try and sort this one out. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby.
Yeah, whenever you're going to do
Let's talk
your
about all the good
take
things.
your time, man.
things
Go
that
real slow. Like I said, if you're scared about getting dirt all over the place, when you start to see the dirt coming up, get your siphon going, and as you pull up, have the section there to catch the dirt, and you should be all right. That'll help you eliminate a little bit of it. Just try to keep it under the sand.
right.
When a lot of dirt come out, take your little bit of sand and put it in the plant and then put up a little bit more. You'll be all right.
Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish.
He had to go drain his sump.
I'll play it back and I'll see what I think. I think it's probably the nuts. And that'll be the one. And you can play around with all of it and decide what you want to do in your
Kenny, have a good one.
dream for Savannah Fish.
Right. Thank you, Lee.
Yep. Gonna be a #1 hit.
You bet. Ah.
Yeah, Roxanne, he had to go drain his sump.
Yeah, Stephen, I'd like to get a picture. That'd be great. Thank you. My email, somebody once posted, email is fatherfish at fatherfish.net. Fatherfish at fatherfish.net. I love Chevy Fishes here. She's usually lurking. Chevy, I need your physical address. I want to send you some stuff, and I need your address, and I can't seem to find it. If you could send that to me by email or whatever. What else is going on here?
Yeah, Father Fish, 2 of the 3 plants that you sent me are doing good. The other one, he gone. The red one, it didn't make it.
Oh, really? Yeah, those the Ludwigia, they don't always make it. They're a real highlight plant. I've noticed Dustin will get them in very often, and they'll have dropped their leaves, but he puts them in outdoor shallow ponds to get them back. So he gives them a lot of sunlight. I think that's true generally of Ludwigia, all the Ludwigia. Really,
yeah, well, I got the Luigi White from you and Crip. I don't remember exactly which one. And the other one, I want to say it was the Luigi Dark Red, but yeah, that one didn't make it. The Luigi White's doing great. So was the Crip. It didn't even melt back.
Yeah, there's
7 of 28 different species in that tank with 1 TrueWall 3.0 that stays on 16 hours a day. It's doing good.
Nice.
But not full spectrum 16 hours. You know, it ramps up and then ramps down.
Right.
All in all, it comes on at 4:30 in the morning and it goes off at 9 o'clock at night.
Stephen, that's right. Thank you.
But the amount of growth I got in that tank is ridiculous. But no algae, so the plants are taking it all up.
Chubbs, what's your primary source of income on your boat? What do you do mostly?
It's salvage work, construction, destruction, and all field.
And what's the last one?
Salvage, construction, destruction, and all field work. Like working with the
oil field, really?
Oil field. Yeah.
Wow.
We do a lot after the hurricanes. We do a lot. You know, we go pick up the boats and stuff. Hey, what's up, Rick? We was just in Florida last year with Hurricane Michael. We was picking up boats from Panama all the way to St. Mark's. Yeah, that was a good trip. Good job.
So basically, you're open to any kind of work on the water.
Yep. If it needs
Interesting.
to be pushed, pulled, towed, or showed, I can do it.
So we normally think about tugboats as pushing big boats around in major harbors, but that's only a small part of what they do.
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 or 8 different main jobs that a tugboat does. You know, they got fleet boats that move the grain barges and the big heavy cargo barges, and they got they got all kind of stuff. And they got dredge boats, they got all field boats, they got trip boats, they got the harbor tugs that move the ships, and there's a bunch to it.
Huh. How long you been on the boat?
Let's see, I was born. No, I've been coming on a boat all my life. I remember every summer since I was 5 years old, I was on the boat with my dad. I started getting paid to work with my dad when I was 15, and I started running a boat when I was 18.
So your dad had a tugboat.
Well, Dad ran tugboats, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah. So if I start by the time I was 15, now I'm 37. So
Are you, young man?
yeah, young man still got over 20 years on the water.
Wow. Yeah. Right.
But when my dad finally had to forced to be retired, he had 52 years on the water.
Wow.
I know there's one captain. He's 90 years old, still driving a car, still driving a boat.
Wow. Yeah, they can't keep you out of it, can they?
Nope. He's on his 17th issue on his license. Our license lasts 5 years.
Holy cow. That's 85 years.
Yeah, something like that.
80 anyway. Yeah. Wow. Amazing.
But, I worked with him a couple times, and right now I think he's on his like a 16th or his 17th issue on his license.
Wow.
That's mind-boggling. I'm only on my 3rd.
Huh. Just looking at the chat here. Roxanne Vallis gets to the surface. Yeah, that's the problem with the Luds. They'll get to the surface, okay. They really prefer to be an emergent plant.
Yep.
When you find them in the wild, they're growing up on banks and growing up out of the water. Usually what you'll see is a big mat of them on top of the water. And then you pull them out and they have no leaves. It's just a long, skinny stem going down to the bottom. So the Bloodwegia, I don't like Bloodwegia as an aquarium plant. I mean, its color is nice. It's everything about it is, except for its behavior. It does not like to be in a tank. It likes to be up in the water.
It always shed its underleaves, depending on which one it is.
Yeah, that's great.
Like the Ovalis, I got some from off the side of the road, and it does the same thing. It'll start growing, and as it grows one leaf, it pops off of the leaf on the bottom. And
exactly.
All the way to the top, and then the top leaves that stay along the surface will stay there.
Yeah, what Dustin does is he only lets them get up to the surface, then he clips them and replants them. So by the time he sells them, they got pretty good leaf structure all through the whole stem. And if they get real stemmy, he'll just cut that off and replant it, and then cut the stem all the way back to the root base to get it growing up again.
Yeah, Bacopas really stay nice. I found right here in Venice. Yeah. I found Bacopa morai, Marii or something like that. It was growing on the side of an industrial road in a limestone. There's two little stems about 3 inches long. I looked at that and it's like, man, that kind of looks like Bacopa. And I grabbed it and I put it in a pot of water and I brought it home and I've been having it in the tank for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 months now. And it's got to about 8 or 9 inches. You know, it's slow growing, but it's still looking good.
Yeah,
So
it's a nice
out of a
plant.
gravel road.
It's actually another bog plant, but it's one that does really well in the water.
Yeah.
We have a lot of it here in Florida growing wild. You always know when you're in the Bacopa because you can smell it. That's a very distinctive odor.
Yeah, the Luigi is you can't get them to stop dropping the leaves. That's how they are. That's how they are. You got to have extremely high light.
Yeah, sunlight.
Yep.
Basically, sunlight. Yeah.
Well, you just got to keep them trimmed low enough to where the bottom leaves can get some light, and you'll be good.
Right.
Like right now, my Luigi is all the way to the top. I got Phogostemon gayi and Phogostemon Salatus octopus that are overrunning the tank, and that Planet 3.0 is barely getting to the bottom. But I've been trying to do a no trim experiment for the last couple months, just to kind of see and show what happens if you don't trim your plants.
Right.
It's going to be ending when I get home because it's just getting to be overpowering too much. Kind of starting to worry about the crypts underneath all the everything else. So I'm going to be doing a trim on that when I get home.
Yeah, I've not noticed crypts really suffering from low light. It's a very slow growing plant that seems to do. It's almost like a fern. They seem to do well in low light. At least they're hard to kill.
Yeah, they're slow growing, but also slow dying.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I got 5 different crypts of mine. Well, 6 now with the one I got from you. Yep.
Oh.
Oh man.
Just
Yeah.
checking the text here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday I was doing some little work over there, and I swear it looks like a sword, some kind of sword, like a not a pumpkin sword. The melon swords.
The melon
It almost
sword.
looks like a variegated or something like that, a variegated sword, some kind. It's the first time I ever seen this plant down here. I wanted to get to the bank to try to get one. I couldn't, but I know where it's at. I get back in the area, I'm going to grab it.
Yeah, swords are nice, and it's a plant you can find wild in temperate zones.
Yep.
And in fresh water, we've got it growing in vast vats up in the Crystal River in northern Florida. Enormous big plants.
Yeah. Yeah, I was doing a stream last night with Royal Fisher Aquatics. And, he was talking about how he's seen the place that had the Amazon swords over there by y'all. And he was tempted to go get it, but it's on private property.
Yeah, you can usually get permission. I do that all the time because they're all the really nice places are privately owned. But I've never had a problem asking permission to do collecting or I call it surveying. And I do it through our club. And it has a number of retired biologists on it who spent their lifetime working for the state. So we've got a little credential here that
Oh
makes
yeah,
us
they got, I think, 2 clubs that I've found on Facebook, and from what I've seen, one of them hasn't done meetings or get-togethers in over 2 years, and the other one's just a Facebook group. So I've never really seen a club down here. All the years of keeping fish and going to different pet shops, and you never hear of anybody talk about a club.
We haven't met since February, and I'm getting a little disheartened about it. Our club is their officers are now all government bureaucrats.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
sweet guys, nice guys, and I love them, but they're kind of towing the government line, and I can't blame them for doing it. But if I were still president of the club, I think I'd be holding meetings.
Oh yeah.
Some of the clubs have started meeting again. The club in Tennessee, I think, just had a meeting. Can't remember who was telling me about.
Michael's Fish Room said that their club's having meetings
Is that right?
in New Jersey.
In Jersey?
Yeah.
You can't hold those Jersey boys down. That or the New York contingent.
Thank you, Lee.
They're extreme fish people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I find the North, they have just as many people that are into aquariums as down here. It's just they all get together and talk about it, and people down here are just inverts about it.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? It's true. What is this? Fish Stream says her friend is transplanting seagrass beds. That's a good job.
Well, that's awesome.
Seagrass beds going. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid in the Chesapeake Bay. I was on a creek, and it was full of grass all the time. There is no grass there today, none whatsoever.
Yeah, when we was going to the, no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a combination of things that have caused it. Weed deterrence is one. People putting weed killer on their lawns. Various farm treatments, but mostly it's sediment coming out of dams up river or up bay that have silted out, and they wash them out periodically and release all that mud, and you can see it. You can see a mud coming down the bay.
Yeah.
Whenever they wash out their stands.
Whenever we was doing the recovery over there in Panama City, we had one big boat. I think it was like 250 foot long, kind of like a big cruise line, personal cruise line yacht type boat.
Yeah.
And it was laying on its side in the Panama Harbor. And we had to get divers over there to go physically remove each individual piece of seagrass that we had to mess up on that could possibly get hurt on the bottom.
Honest to God.
And it took 4 days for them to move the grass, a day and a half to move the boat, and then 5 days to put the grass back.
Honest to God.
That
Amazing.
is craziness.
Amazing. Yeah, there's some nice grass flats.
I don't know, but yeah, I think the big boat was by a college. Yeah, they had a big college campus on the shore.
The Lemon Bay, which is just south of where I am, in Englewood, and all the way down from there south.
Come on, man.
Wonderful grass flats.
Yep.
A lot of grass flats in the.
Oh, you do fish streams? That's pretty cool. I got some pictures of it too. I was closer.
Yeah. Oh, I found out something really interesting about seahorses yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it turns out that with a permit, it's legal to collect seahorses and to sell them into the trade, it is because
Huh.
their CITES listed. It's not legal to export them, but there are no restrictions on
That's
their
cool.
on collecting and selling them in the states.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is, particularly with the pygmies, because the pygmies are kind of a big deal. It's an
Oh
extremely
yeah.
prolific animal that
Oh, yeah.
has not impacted the trade in years and years because there's been
Uh,
such a confusing mentality about it. But it's really a delightful little animal and very easy to keep. You know,
oh
I've
yeah.
had,
They're also very easy to kill if you're not doing it right.
well, it's hard not to do it right. The big ones are easy to kill. The little ones are a little harder to kill.
Yeah. Yeah. 10 years ago, when I was trying to mess with seahorses, there wasn't enough information for people to really do it right. It was all trial and error, you know. And I tried, and I had errors.
Well, yeah, you can only feed them live food.
Yeah.
You know,
That was a lot harder to get back then. Even
they're not
down here, you know, we got lots of stuff you can get for them, but it's coming out of fresh water, and sometimes they don't take to it, and
right.
big pain in the butt.
Yeah,
So I got on the salt water.
yeah, you see pictures of them taking guppies and stuff, but that's not real. They will not eat worms. You know, you'd think that worms would be a great food for a seahorse, but they ignore them. They want crustacea.
Yeah.
They're a crustacea eater. They don't even really eat little fish. They eat little shrimp.
They're like little copepods and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Fairy shrimp. Um, any of the little tiny shrimp.
Yep.
I've seen a big seahorse take a shrimp, an inch and a half long shrimp, and grab it, tear it in half,
Oh yeah.
sucking on it, tear it in half, and eat each half of it.
Yeah. And seahorses are pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I see the pipefish every now and then when we got a job on the beach.
yeah,
We'll catch them pipefish around the boats, around the lights, and they're pretty awesome.
they are. They're really easy to keep,
Oh
and
yeah.
they if you've got an established tank,
Oh yeah.
you'll be able to keep a pipefish in there indefinitely. He'll
Oh
live
yeah.
months and
I kept,
months.
they had somebody that wanted some, and I just so happened to be in the area where they had some. And I caught 4 of them and kept them alive in a bucket, just doing water changes every day. And they stayed alive for about 2 weeks while I was on the boat, and then I got them home to the guy, and I don't know, he might even still have them. So they about, I think, 4 or 5 months, he started seeing babies in the tank.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pipefish. I can't sell pipefish, but I think they're every bit as interesting as the seahorses.
Oh yeah.
They don't have the popularity somehow, but very cool little animal.
Yeah.
Really easy to keep.
The ones that have really been catching my eye are the freshwater pipefish that they're starting to find.
Yeah. Now they're from the Orient, aren't they? Are they really locally?
I don't know. The ones I seen were coming out of Australia.
Okay.
I don't know if they got them locally.
I've had a few of them. I've not done well with them.
Yeah, they probably go back and forth to salt water and brackish water, you know.
Could be. One of the difficulties with freshwater animals like that is it's really hard to get the kind of subculture, the kind of microscopic culture going that you could get going in saltwater.
Yep.
And I think it has a lot to do with the way we set up our freshwater tanks.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with when you're catching animals that are in the brackish water. There's some animals from fresh, there's some animals from salt, but they all can coexist in that one area because they could either run to the salt or run to the fresh. And now tanks is, is stable, and
Yeah,
they
you
need
don't.
the unstability to order to live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that makes sense. Fish Streams wants to know what kind of permit. Um, there are two kinds of permit that you can have. Actually, there are three to collect saltwater ornamentals. The one is a regular fishing license that gives you the right to collect a very small number, like 2 or 3 ornamental uh, coral fish, seahorses, whatever, a day. The second is a harvester's permit, like a crabberman or a lobsterman, or
Yeah.
somebody who's working the water who is doing bycatch and has been at it for a couple of years, has demonstrated their ability to provide paperwork on a routine basis, and they are then allowed a bycatch permit. The third one is a license that's no longer available through the state. It's a commercial ornamental collecting license. I'm talking about Florida here.
Yeah.
That license, there are two types of those. One is the original ones can be sold to other private parties. The other type cannot. They expire when the person stops using them.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a collector's permit, you're going to spend between $50,000 and $100,000 to buy the permit from somebody who's selling it, who themselves bought it. There are hardly anybody left who was issued one. They stopped issuing them 25 years ago or longer. So
Yep.
the only ones that are out there now are the permits that have been purchased from other people. And there are only, I don't know how many, a few hundred such. There may be as many as 1,000, but I rather doubt it. Probably no more than a few hundred permits
Right.
are even available.
Morning, Patrick.
Who's that?
Patrick on.
Oh, I thought somebody else was. I didn't recognize your voice. That's funny. Manish is here. Hi, Manish.
But over here for collecting, all you need is a normal permit, and you can collect whatever you want as long as it's not on the list, which is only sturgeon and a special kind of Louisiana pearl scale clam or mussel. And then you can keep as many as you want, however many you're going to keep, your personal tanks or whatever. But you cannot sell the parents or the babies, and you can only sell the babies of the babies, the second generation.
F2s. That's interesting.
Yep.
Huh.
You can only sell the F2s. You cannot sell the parents or the offspring.
Of what species?
Any species.
Oh, really?
Any species in Louisiana.
Huh.
Hey, Ro. Good morning.
Let's see. I did looking back in the chat here. They're talking about some kind of a filter. I guess a Daphne filter. Coffee filter. I'll tell you what else works real well as a filter is the filter material from the RO systems. If you take one of those apart when they're used up, they're different kinds, but there's one that's just a roll of essentially a filter material. And you can use that. It's very, very fine.
I've been in predicaments where I didn't have nothing else but paper towels, and they work. But
Coffee filter.
you gotta,
Yeah.
Yeah, coffee filters work. Regular paper towels. I've used that to polish water. I mean, they'll do it, but I mean, the paper towels break down after time. You know, I only use them for like
Yeah.
1 day, and then I take them out.
I've always used silk handkerchiefs. Silk is a very fine mesh,
Mm-hmm.
and that works pretty well. It holds up pretty well.
Yep.
Lee's asking, he's noticed a slick on his water surface. Um,
Yeah, Lee, what you can do with a slick on the water surface, get you a paper towel and hold it over the water and just let it hit the water surface at one time and then pick it up real quick and throw it away.
yeah,
That'll take most of the
just
film off
right,
the top.
right across. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, your skimmer will work. It's two things. It could be from was it before or after the accident with the pellets? Because the food could do it. It's more likely algae.
Yeah.
There is a what looks like an oil slick that grows on tanks that's actually a form of algae.
Yep. Another thing you can do, you can take a power head, invert it, take like a water bottle and just cut little bitty tiny slits around the bottom of it and mount the drinking part of it to your power head and just have it to where it'll just barely suck in water, and you put filter floss or paper towels or whatever you got inside the water bottle, and it'll act like a skimmer.
Yeah, Cassie B is calling it biofilm. Yeah, that's really what it is.
Yep. I found pond snails get rid of it.
They do. They like to eat it. Even mystery
snails.
Yep. Yeah, mystery snails.
Anytime I see a slick on there, I know I'm running low on snails, and I throw some more in there.
Yep.
Them sleeper gobies I find they love to eat snails.
Now, what is Steven talking about? Something transitioned. What is this? Says they've been noted before, but were never transitioned to artificial environment. So they did not make it a hobby until recently. Don't know what he's referring to.
Not sure.
Cassidy said it'll get thicker. It will get thicker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really I've had trouble with it on saltwater tanks, where it just grows back really fast.
Oh, yeah.
I usually use a jump system of just taking a paper towel and draping it across and kind of wiping it off the surface of the water. The other thing you can do is skim it. Take a cup and just hold it right at the very lip of the water and skim it into the cup. That'll get it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that you got a lot of plants and it's actually getting to the surface. It'll trap the biofilm, and then all you can really do is either the paper towel method, like I was talking about, or add more pond snails or something that'll get in there and actually eat it.
Yeah. Of course, keeping water splashing on the surface helps too. That breaks it up.
Yeah, hang on back filters work good.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
When I ran my saltwater tank, I only ran 2 Aquaclear 110s and a hang on back protein skimmer.
Huh.
And it works wonderful.
Yep. Lee's talking about doing it simple. The paper towel. Do simple. Right.
Yeah, it works, Lee.
Yeah, simple is usually about the most effective way to do things.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly around fish tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fish Stream's talking about fishing license. With a fishing license in Florida, you can collect a few ornamentals, which includes things like hermit crabs, snails, shrimp, and the like. Now, the reality is nobody with fisheries is going to come after you for collecting grass shrimp. It just ain't going to happen.
No.
But there are a lot of other things that they will count out. Even with a permit, there's still limits.
Oh, yeah.
For example, Blue Lake Hermit, you can only take 100 at a time. If they
Yep.
find more than 100 in the bucket, even if you've got a permit, you
Yep.
can be fined for that.
Yeah, they've been cracking down on people collecting over here. They want to make sure you're not selling it, because on the local plants and everything, you can collect for your personal use. You cannot collect to sell them at any time, even after propagation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if they find out you're selling plants, it's a huge fine and possibly jail time
Wow.
just for selling grass that you found in a ditch.
Wow. Yeah, it's a little overdone, isn't it?
But I mean, they're catching people with 1,000 pounds of jungle valve in vehicles.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, and down here we got fields of it. I mean, literally football fields of a bay that would be covered in jungle valve. And
Huh.
you know, it's gorgeous. You know, it's awesome to see from the water, and you know, but people are actually, you know, taking advantage of it and going out there and really robbing the ecosystem to try to make a dollar. And you know, yeah, it grows back, but I mean, look at what you're doing to the ecosystem. You know.
Yeah, they don't grow back all that quick either.
Oh yeah. I mean, I gathered. When I went out there and I seen the jungle valve, I took 2 stems that was about 3.5, 4 foot long, and the last video I did when I pulled it out of the tank, it was right at about 5.5 foot, and it done put like 5 or 6 runners out. It was
Right.
only within a period of like 2 months.
Yeah.
It grows crazy fast.
Neat stuff. Steven's asking if I'm allowed to take donated fish. And he says some LFS we donate fish to cannot accept certain things at certain times. I'm sure it's a function of each individual state. I am on a list that's maintained by state fisheries. They actually have an office that that travels around the state holding meets for people to do pet exchange, pet return, and pet placement, and all that stuff. And I'm on the fish list, so
Yeah.
I take all comers. My attitude is that I would rather see it come in here than go into a local ditch or pond. So anybody who calls me with the fish they need to get rid of, I tell them to bring it in, and I give them a little bit of store credit for it. I just do that absolutely routinely. And the state knows about it. They know I do it. And it's obviously the easiest way to deal with the issue. Otherwise, there are people turning stuff loose in canals all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. We find all kind of stuff. But they're talking about using sponge filters, and I actually, when I started my 75 with all the plants, I started it with two large sponge filters, the coarse sponge, and I started it with a Aquaclear 110. And then after about 3 months, when I seen the tank was doing real good, I shut off the 110, and I haven't ran it since, and it's just using the two sponge filters, and it's doing wonderful. I found that after I shut the hang-on back filter off, that the plants started growing better.
Yeah, absolutely. Steven's talking about using air stones. He says he's got air stones and everything. I recommend switching out sponge filters for air stones, you get the same level of activity of water movement, but with the additional benefit of filtration
Yeah.
going on, so more biological filtration. I'm absolutely sold on sponge
Oh, yeah.
filters.
Yeah, I got the aquarium co-op sponge filters, and I run air stone on the inside of that, and the smaller amount of bubbles don't make that glug 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 sound, so it's pretty much silent.
Yeah.
They work great. They work great. Lift
Yeah,
tubes.
the only reason I
Definitely
don't
keep the circulation in the tank. Even though I only have two of them in there, one of them on each side of the tank, and you can still see the circulation and the water moving in the middle of the tank.
Yep.
So,
The only reason I do not do air stones is because over time they clog up. And I've got a couple of 100 tanks. And I don't want to have to go around switching out air stones.
well, the air stones I got in there, that's the ones that came from Aquarium Co-op. They've been going for 6 months, and I haven't had to touch one of them.
Nice.
And
There
like I said,
are some new air stones that are
there's the ZIS ones, I think they're called, the Never Clog air stones.
the plastic ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the plastic ones, and they just got two pieces of filter material that for the air to come through, and they work great. I mean, if you get a small bubble that stays just about the same the entire life of the tank, pretty much. Like I said, I got some that I've had to adjust, and then I got some that's going 6 months that I haven't adjusted.
Oh,
Good.
Steven's talking about the regulations in Virginia. And they said that even though they're permitted and licensed for everything, if they're going after certain species, they have to file for that. Well, it really depends on how the local fisheries handles their regulatory procedures, and they're all different.
Yeah, you see a little trick I learned. If a air stone's clogging up, I just soak it in alcohol for a day, and then I let it dry out for about 2 or 3 days, and then plug it back up, and it works.
Right.
But either alcohol or I've done it with hydrogen peroxide too, but I find that eats the stone more than alcohol.
It does, yeah. Steven's talking about not replacing air stones.
Yeah.
I don't know, if they're stones, eventually they're going to clog up. I've never had a stone that did not clog up. Might take 3 or 4 years, but eventually it's going to clog up. Particularly the big ones. They're terrible. The big ones are the worst.
Yeah.
They don't hardly last at all.
Yeah, they got a lot to do with you get what you pay for too. You buy a cheap 20-cent, air stone that came from China, it's probably not going to work for you very long.
Right. Yeah, I don't use them. It's just a maintenance issue.
Hydrogen peroxide for cyanobacteria really ain't going to do too much. You're not going to, it'll kill it initially, but ChemiClean, that's about the best thing you can get, or erythromycin. I've always had cyanobacteria, and I just treat it with either ChemiClean or erythromycin, which they say is in ChemiClean. It'll knock it out. You just have to stay up on your maintenance.
Yeah, the critical thing, maintenance is the issue. The critical thing about cyano is to realize that it's being caused by conditions in the tank.
Yep.
So you have to alter those conditions, and it's typically high in phosphates and nitrates. And that's a function normally of overfeeding.
Yeah.
There are 4 or 5 things you can do that will control it. And it rarely is a condition that persists for very long, unless you've got a really old system that is crying out for water change.
Yeah. With the Chemi Clean, I've used it in my planted tank and I've never had problems with it. Cassie B saying she had problems with erythromycin with her plants, but I've never had a problem with it with Chemi Clean.
Yeah, I've used it. Again, a lot of things like that are just economically not feasible for me to do. I'd have to spend hundreds of dollars a month to do that sort of thing. To treat all my systems, I try to find maintenance systems that take care of those kinds of issues.
Yeah.
So I try to find
aqua treatments and salt water. You got to be real careful with that.
Yeah, you bet.
I wouldn't recommend it if it's the first time you're trying it. Yeah, adding the light is going to change everything. I find blue light makes it come out faster too. If you have too much blue light in your tank,
That's true.
I find blue light is the main cause for black beard algae and the curly one. I forget which one is that. Yeah, like the orange snail.
Cyano. Jay, the cyano is not green water. That's something else. Green
Microalgae.
algae. Green water is simply a lack of other kind of plants.
Yeah, it could be the lack of nitrates too. Yeah, but that's the thing. You gotta watch algae because algae will tell you if you got too much in the water, too much nutrients in the water, or not enough.
Yeah, true enough.
Oh man. Well, I gotta get to work, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump off.
It's nice to have you hang out with us.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Enjoyed it.
Yep. All right.
Have a great
See
day.
everybody. Y'all appreciate y'all comments and y'all have a good day.
You
I'll
bet.
see y'all later.
If somebody posts Chubb's channel. Well, that was fun. Rose saying that floating plants tend to reduce nitrates and phosphates. Right, exactly. That's what they're feeding on. So any kind of plant that's drawing its nutrients out of the water column rather than out of the substrate is going to help control nitrates and phosphates. Floating plants, Anubias, Java fern, any of those kinds of things. Hi, Ro, how are you? 48,950. Pigeons are visiting Rohan's platy tub. Will they eat them? I don't think so. They're probably just drinking the water. Most birds, only fish-eating birds, and there are some that will clean your tub out. So be alert to that, but no, pigeons are not among them. Let's see. I want to do another song here. I need to take one more break. I can either shut it down now or take a break. I think I'll take a break. So let's get what have we not played? We have not played Cassie B. Let's get Cassie B up here. And oh no, we did play Cassie. Which one did we didn't play either. Okay, Cassidy it is.
On my way, I found my way to Father Fish. He comes on in the morning every day. Add some soil, cap it with sand, then add plants. He will help you do it the right way. Add some fish, then walk away. Feed them high quality food. Thy food is best. Keep it dirted, keep it all natural. I found my way back to Father Fish. Bye.
Good morning. This is Father Fish. I have a birthday coming up soon. I'm going to be 80 years old. And I've been keeping fish since I was about 9 years old. 70 years. 70 years, and the excitement that I felt the first time I saw a platy, a guppy, a molly, that excitement, that joy, that mystery,
Oh my!
that magic
What are we doing here?
remains with me today.
Ha! Got one of the old ones up. That's interesting. Let's see. Let me jump down to the bottom here. Lee Wilcox, the voice of an angel. You betcha. Very sweet. Dr. Cho, Father Fish, Lou Foxwell. Hello. Yes. Yes. No, did she send any to the lab? Did she send orders? Gulf Coast. The one right down the street from the one connected with Gulf Coast, whatever it's called. Yeah, that's the only one I go to. Pardon? Oh. No, it's not Sarasota Memorial. No, it's called. I don't. My primary physician. It's the group he's with. Okay. Okay. Do I need to? All right, I'll do that. Thank you. You too. Huh.
I'm finding of late I'm deliberately missing medical appointments. I've dropped 2 or 3 right lately. I just kind of don't want to deal with it until after I get past my birthday, and then I'll get it back on track. I have medical appointments 2 to 3 times every month. Um, I have probably 6 different physicians that I see on a regular basis, and it's all pro forma. I go in there, nothing happens, nothing changes, and it just costing money. And I'm getting tired of doing it. So, and the difficulty is if I don't do it, then they get huffy with me and threaten to cut me off. So, but I don't care at this point. I'm not gonna. After I'm 80, we'll talk about it. I don't want to deal with it right now. All right, where are we? What? All right. Ain't nothing happening here. Steven's talking about lava rock. I got a lot of it too. That video. It's one of the first ones I did. That was an old one. Let's see. All right, I'm covering all this. See some birthday talk in there. I'm ignoring it. Roxanne saying cyanobacteria was really bad in her boyfriend's new tank through manual removal, more water changes, and a lot less food. It got rid of it. That's exactly right. You got to get the causes. I mean, you can treat stuff like that chemically and kill it, but then you're running the risk of killing other things as well, and you're still not dealing with the problem that caused it. So, deal with the problem that causes things. Try to get down to Leah's saying the birds might poop in your tub. And that's a good thing. If the birds poop in your tub, they're providing nutrition, much needed nutrition. That's a good thing. You always want bird poop. Bird poop's good. Ro, I'm good, Ro. How are you doing? Okay. We're running just about 10 o'clock here. Started a little late, so might run a little over. If anybody else wants to jump up here for a minute. Stephen, compound reaction. With chemical compound A and B, the question is, what reactions will occur when mixed with compounds C and D? Well, okay. David Piper finally finished his morning chores. Lee, always have my LED set to bright white. I can change the colors. What's the best setting? And what color? The reds are particularly good for plants. They're not good for human eyes. The blues tend to be less so. I've got some systems. I've got a salt system here that has blue on one side and red on the other. And the red washes out the color of all the corals, so you can't see any of their color. But they flourish. Everything just goes nuts. On the blue side,
You can see all the colors brilliantly. It's really quite pretty, but the growth is not nearly as it is with the red. I need more light, more white, I think, with my blue because I also tend to get cyno on that blue side. All right. Oh dear. I think I'm all the way back here. Cynthia Ponce. Cynthia, hello, hello. Cynthia has a question. We have an organic soil here with fertilizer. Is that okay for the aquarium? Yes, it is. It's not a problem. Here's the rule. I know there's controversy about this, but I'm going to suggest something that cuts through all of the conversation about introducing harsh chemical or I shouldn't say harsh chemicals, introducing elements and fertilizers and the like into your system. So long as it is well capped with new sand, and by well capped I mean an absolute minimum of 2 inches. So long as whatever you've got in there is well capped with 2 inches of sand. That's number one. Number two, when you plant plants, do not stick them all the way down into the dirt. Put them 1 inch into the sand. The roots will search for nutrients and pick them up as needed. So they're not going to get burned out by excessive nutrients. You can control this by capping with an adequate cap of sand and planting without driving the plant down into a substrate, a subsoil that may be too rich in nutrients for it. That solves both problems. And it solves the problem of excessive nutrients. Now, what happens to those nutrients is over a relatively short period of time, they break down and mix with the rest of the material that's in there, and it takes the edge off, is the best way I have to explain it. I mean, it can be harsh early on, like in the first month or two. It can be really harsh in this bottom layer, but if you're not putting demands on it, just letting it do its thing, leaving it alone, letting it down there do its dirty work, it will resolve itself, and it will become a whole lot more homeopathic, if you will. It'll become a whole lot more stable and sound and gentle, and it'll cut that harshness out, and the roots will be able to get down into it more and thrive. More waste will drift into it. It'll resolve itself in fairly short order. But it's critical. That's really what I'm suggesting is something that is not suggested, to my knowledge, anywhere else, not even really in Walstead. She doesn't really get into the impact of the cap on the relationship between the substrate and the water column. I believe that cap is key to being able to set up a new tank and to have it function over the long term. Otherwise, you're going to have a system that's not going to last more than a year. unless you begin finding ways to effectively inject that deep substrate with nutrients. And that's doable. We're trying out, experimenting with the ice cube system, and that seems to be having good results. Nevertheless, if you start out with a super rich substrate, one that would in fact kill everything in the tank if you were to simply release it into the water column, nothing would survive it. That is admittedly true. So it's absolutely critical to cap it with a minimum of 2 inches of sand. 3 inches is better. 2 inches is minimum. It's adequate, but it's minimum. That deeper substrate, that, if you will, toxic substrate, over a period of a month or two, will resolve itself. Now, that doesn't mean you can then stir it up and kick it up into the water column. Doesn't mean that at all. It simply means that it will begin processing waste. And in the process, it'll begin providing nutrition for plants. So it'll become balanced. It'll become something that will be integrated into the total system in the tank. So, right, Cassie B saying the problem occurs if the soil is exposed to the water column. It's absolutely right. A tiny amount isn't going to hurt anything. A whole lot will. Yeah, now Minaj is talking about insecticides and pesticides, and that is a completely different matter. There are, for example, bactericides that are injected in foam that can be mistakenly used to create sponge filters. That foam sponge material is made for furniture, to make foam stuffed furniture, and is completely inappropriate in a fish tank, and because it will kill everything. It's a bactericide. It's nasty stuff. It's not good, and you don't want to use it. So if you're buying foam rubber in bulk, make sure you're getting foam that is not injected with bactericide. But it says, Rose suggesting Minaj use diamonds. Good idea. Yeah, all organic soil has fertilizer. Well, it is fertilizer. Fertilizer's not going to be a problem so long as you are adequately capping it and keeping it out of the water column. Now, what does it do when it gets into the water column? It builds up the nitrate and phosphate level. It's what it does. It's what it is. So if you load that up with plants, they're gonna thrive and grow unless it's so strong that it burns them up. Oh, Steven's into something here I'm not following. Cynthia, the added fertilizer which is organic, will not kill the fish. You want to keep it capped. Just keep it capped. That's the key. All right, we did all that. Let's hit the bottom. Lee's worried about pulling plants out and releasing soil. I think I suggested to you the other day that you kind of jerk them a little bit up and down. By doing that, you're breaking the root system loose from the soil that it is attached to. You're actually kind of cleaning it, if you will, so that when you then slowly pull it up, it'll come up with very, very little soil, just a little puff maybe, not enough to make a difference. Jerk it a little bit, kind of push it down, pull it up in like 1/4 to 1/2 inch movements. And then when you slide it out, you're going to be able to bring it out with very little attached to it. All right, we're gonna cut out of here. Cassie's talking about cyano. New sand setups. Yeah, it happens because the system's not balanced yet. Just give it a little time. It clears up all by itself. If everything else is right, it's going to clear up all by itself. All right, guys. All right, we're going to cut out here. Let me get a tune back up. And I think I know what I want. I'm playing this without video because when I play things with video, it messes up. Here we go.
Hello, Mary. Mary, try and sort this one out.
Bye, everybody. Love you all.
Let's talk about fish, baby.
Nice to be here.
Let's talk about you and me.
Nice to
Let's
have
talk about
everybody.
all the good things
Love you.
and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about the things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break.
Yeah.
Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be.
See you tomorrow, Cassie.
Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish.
Bye, everybody.
I think that one will do.
Nice to be with you.